It's common knowledge among therapists that by the time you come to therapy, you have already created elaborate methods in which to solve your psychological problems. But one of the major reasons why you're stuck is because your solutions have themselves become into problems. Hi, if you're new here, I'm George Felix, a clinical psychologist and a practicing therapist. And in this video, I'm going to simplify for you what I mean when I say that your solutions are the problems and why it's helpful for you to know. The problems you bring to sessions are actually more like masks that cover the real problem hidden underneath. And the solutions you've been using to solve those problems have become so messy and rigid that over time you've lost awareness of what the actual problem was in the first place. In fact, I would go so far as to say that when you start therapy, you are initially only working at the level of your solutions. And in my previous videos, I have often talked about procrastination. So let's see if we can take that same example and work with it. Let's say you come to therapy saying, I procrastinate a lot. I want to get rid of the procrastination. It is causing a lot of problems for me. Your understanding of your psychological problem is that it is procrastination. And you're not wrong or deluded about it. Procrastination is, in fact, a real problem with real consequences. A therapist will ask you all those situations in which you tend to procrastinate, and patterns will emerge here. You say that you procrastinate at work, and especially in those work situations which involve you to present your work in a meeting, basically where you have to present your work or your progress with a bunch of co-workers. The therapist starts having a hypothesis, an assumption that probably you feel anxious to present your work at a meeting. And since your procrastination is typically happening towards meetings at your workplace, that you could probably be socially anxious. And since you are probably socially anxious, your procrastination is in some way helping you distance yourself from that meeting. If you don't complete your PPT, your presentation, you are not just pushing away the PPT, you are in some way pushing away the anxiety associated with that meeting. And the sooner you finish your work, the more time you will have to spend worrying about the approaching meeting, which is uncomfortable and distressing. Now you may be wondering, if I don't submit the PPT, it's going to land me in much worse problems at my workplace. This is where the messiness of your solutions comes in. That it made sense to procrastinate back then, but now when you think about it rationally, it makes no sense whatsoever. That what once was a solution to the problem has now become the problem itself. That procrastination has been protecting you against the intense distress and discomfort you feel when you have to present something in a social setting. That it has been protecting you against social anxiety. And so therapy will now shift its focus to working on the social anxiety problems and not necessarily the procrastination. It may sound like the therapist is not listening to your concern of procrastination, but instead is more focused on discovering some other problem that you didn't even know you had. But that's how therapy works. We can also spend a lot of time fighting the solution, fighting the procrastination through routine, to-do lists, schedules, worksheets, etc. And it is fine, it is okay. And if it helps you, if it works, it's amazing. But if it doesn't, then hey, we will need to look a little bit more deeper. You may be thinking, is social anxiety the deep psychological problem that we've been talking about? The short answer is no, definitely not. And depending on the orientation of the therapist, the exploration can go levels and levels deeper. Off the top of my head, maybe the social anxiety is a signal to tell you to maybe not mess up in front of a bunch of people. And in some deep sense, the social anxiety could itself be a solution that tells you, hey, be careful, don't mess up, prepare well. Otherwise, people are going to judge you. They're going to think that you've made a mess of things and that you're stupid. They can think in this manner about almost every problem that spoils people's mental health. problems of perfectionism, procrastination, doom scrolling, relationship communication issues, addictions, personality disorders, OCD, anxiety, depression, you name it. Anyway, so as we keep going under, we discover what we call a set of core psychological problems. And most therapies take a long time to reach that stage because these solutions that you've picked up across your life have been so successful at masking or hiding the real pain so intricately and elaborately that you have clung to them like a child clings to a mother when they're frightened. And a part of you unknowingly doesn't want to let go because they feel known and familiar and safe. But they themselves have become the problem. They are now coming in the way of you living a full and healthy life. We can keep exploring deeper and deeper in this manner, but I don't want to prolong the video. So if you are curious to know how these levels work, do let me know in the comments below and I'll focus on that in the future videos. There are two key takeaways from this video. The first is that real therapy will focus on getting to the roots of your problems. It may surprise you and even disappoint you that your therapist and you are working on problems which you didn't even know you had. And the second takeaway is my invitation to you to introspect. If you're aware of having a mental health issue or a psychological struggle, take good amount of time and sit with that struggle. Try to notice the various small details about that struggle and try to figure out what about this problem is really bothering me. And if you're comfortable, do share that in the comments with me. I hope this video was meaningful. Thank you. Take good care of yourself and I'll see you in the next one.